I'm making a bad face as I stare at the ground. My favorite color is brown.
Hello and welcome to the Hemp Connoisseur Radio Hour. I'm David Madalena, and as will always be with me is my partner Jason Robillard. Say hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
He's so funny. All right, so you were just listening to the Demon Funkies. They're going to be one of the bands playing at our Cirque de Cannabis event on Friday, October 5th. These guys really know how to rock out. This is from their new album, which is Back on the Monkey. What's that? And Roll, Roll, Roll is the name of the song.
Nice. That's October 5th, 7 o'clock?
Yeah, the doors open at 7 o'clock. We will start making awards announcements of the Hemp Connoisseur Championship at around 8:30. We want to give everybody time from all the dispensaries to get out of work because they all close at 7 to get there. We are going to be visited by Ryan Criss from the Demon Funkies in the second half of the show. He's currently stuck in gridlock and on his way over here. Traffic on I-25 is always fun right around this time of the day. So let's roll into some national news. As always, as we said last week, we're going to always give you a little bit of national news. We'll try to talk about some local news as well. And let's let everybody know what's going on out in the world in the hemp and cannabis industry. So Jason has some interesting information on Mexican drug cartels.
Mexican drug cartels. We're actually going to be starting opening up some shows on a weekly basis every Thursday, 4 to 5, just to let you all know. So definitely tune in on that. But we are going to do a black market update every week, and it may not be from South. It may be anywhere around the world. So definitely tune in for that, for the black market update.
Just so everybody knows, it doesn't mean we're supporting the black market. It's that we just want to let people know what's going on in the black market in its relation to the legalization of medical cannabis in the United States.
We definitely support the decrease in percentage that the black market is having on the market right now. So bringing up from Mexico is where we're going today. Some fun facts about it, which aren't really, I guess, too fun of facts. But if y'all didn't know, last year, Mexico brought up 35 million pounds of marijuana.
Wow. 35 million pounds.
I'm trying to picture about how much 35 million pounds is.
Well, you know, there's this great picture that I showed you last week of the largest cannabis field ever discovered in Mexico, and they show there's this awesome aerial shot. You could definitely, I think YouTube this, of like 3 helicopters going over a field, and as far as the eye could see was just a huge cannabis farm. Mm-hmm. And this is Mexico. I mean, I can't even imagine how many acres. You're more in the farming industry than I was. How many acres did that look like when you looked at that picture?
Dude, I don't know, but that's a crap lot. That's all I could say, man.
That is our official term today, a crap lot.
Crap lot.
Yeah.
However, in the state that you're talking about is Sinaloa, which if I had a map of Mexico right now, I'd be able to, but maybe our producer can give us a little bit more since he's from the South. No. However, actually, and another fun fact behind this is that in these fields, they're only reachable by donkey. Just to let you know, a pound of marijuana in the South is about $25 is what the farmers can get it for. However, there's a huge percent increase, and this is a little bit older, but in Phoenix, which is definitely a typo from the article I got it from, is they're selling it for $550 a pound, which is definitely not right.
That's ridiculously cheap.
But if it was $550 a pound, that's $20 billion worth of marijuana.
That is $20 billion worth of marijuana. They're probably talking about wholesale, plus you got to remember that this is, it's Mexican ditchweed. I mean, it is. I mean, it's grown on large-scale farms outdoors. There's cross-pollination going on. And we're not talking about the quality of cannabis that we can get here in Colorado and other legal states because they're able to actually grow this stuff properly. They're dealing with severe volume and really doing it as a pure numbers game, basically. But what's interesting about this is the talk that they had about the decline in income that's going to these Mexican drug cartels because of the legalization of medical marijuana. Mm-hmm. So do you want to speak a little bit about that one, Jason?
The decline going in. Segue me into this real quick because I'm looking at it right now.
I thought that was a pretty good segue.
Actually, I have it right now. 60% of the cartel's revenue has actually been decreased right now from actually it was more than 60% of the cartel's revenue. Oh, in 2006 was between 8.6 billion out of 13.8 billion actually came from Mexico.
Wow.
So come from U.S. Marijuana sales, according to the White House Office of National Drug Policy.
Mm-hmm.
So this is coming from the feds.
So the long and short of this is basically that the Mexican drug cartels are hurting because of the legalization of medical marijuana, and the fact that it's a majority of the income they get comes from medical marijuana. I mean, from marijuana farms, as opposed to the priority of the DEA, which is cocaine, methamphetamines, and heroin, I believe. Am I incorrect on that? I'm just remembering from what I read on the article. And so it's interesting. If we really want to fight this quote-unquote drug war that's really never-ending, the first step is to take the money away from the illegal entities, and we are in the process of doing that here in the United States. We're taking the money, the profit away from these guys by legalizing cannabis. So, much like Prohibition in the 30s gave a foothold to organized crime to actually have a product that everybody in society wanted. Right now, these guys have a product that a large majority of our society does want and wants to purchase, whether it's considered legal in their state or not. And by taking that away from them, we're really hurting them where it hurts the most for these drug cartels in their pocket.
Well, I mean, it doesn't benefit them to sell to the state of Colorado or any or any of the 17th states plus DC that have either decriminalized or are in the process of legalizing it as far as Colorado has. Because, I mean, in the state of Colorado right now, you can get an ounce anywhere from $180 to $250, $300 an ounce, depending on the quality. Whereas before, the Mexican cartel could get it for $500, $600 an ounce. So
and the quality was not very good either.
No, it's outdoor, and you got these people that can really grow and really understand that it is a science behind growing all of these things, growing it organically versus non, and the product is just so much better.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny here in Colorado. I'll go into a bar somewhere and you can smell the swag, or the ditchweed off of somebody, and it's almost like, wow, they still make you?
Why would you do that?
Why would you do? It's rarer to find that really bad product out there in Colorado than it is to find the good one. Right on. And hey, we just got joined by Ryan. He's going to step in, put on his headphones. Welcome, Ryan's from the Demon Funkies. He got stuck in traffic. Say hello, Ryan.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Just so you know, Ryan, we've just been going over everybody with what's going on with Mexican drug cartels and the fact that the legalization of marijuana has been hurting their businesses.
And I think as far as that go, I think that's pretty much it for the black market update this week. So.
All right. Well, there's our black market update. So I want to talk a little bit about the quote-unquote black market update in the United States right now. Specifically, let's talk about this New Hampshire jury. This is awesome, and I think I talked about this at a segment on over at Grow the Radio with Stickman about a jury in Kansas that basically revolted, and this was about a month or so ago. They pretty much revolted against the judge and the prosecutors for this guy who was found on multiple accounts of possession, intent to distribute, and having paraphernalia on. And the jury basically said, you know what, we don't believe that marijuana should be illegal. We think this is BS, that you want to even put this guy in jail. He's not a threat to society. And so no matter how much reasonable doubt you cannot prove that, no matter how much you can prove that he's guilty, we will not convict this guy. We will not find him guilty at all. And they pretty much revolted against the court and said, we're never going to find this guy guilty. You might as well throw this case out of court. And they did.
Do you think that had anything to do with the jury decision from Kansas over the past?
Well, no. Well, that's what I was just speaking about, was the jury from Kansas a couple minutes ago. Now, what happened in New Hampshire is really interesting because this actually goes towards religious freedom. There was a man, Doug Darrells, 59 years old. He was facing felony drug charges for growing marijuana plants behind his house located at Barnstead, New Hampshire. The charges were dropped because some of the jurors in his trial convinced the other jurors to nullify the case on the grounds that Darrell was obeying the customs of his religion. He's a Rastafarian. Now, what happened was, in 2009, a National Guard helicopter was flying over Darrell's property and found that he was growing marijuana in the backyard of his house. So after that, his home was raided. He was arrested and charged with multiple counts of felony possession of marijuana. You know, he was offered several plea deals, and you know what? God love this guy, Doug Darrell, because he did not take one plea deal. He refused to accept them on the grounds that he was following his religious rights. And I love hearing about American citizens who will fight for their rights for these kind of things. So just to give you a little backstory, in New Hampshire, there's a policy known as HB 146. It says that the defense has a right to instruct the jury to nullify a guilty verdict if they conscientiously object to the punishment. This is awesome, and this is a huge, bill for New Hampshire to pass. And New Hampshire is actually very progressive in a lot of things they do. You know, as I mentioned last week, I'm originally from the Boston area, so I'm very familiar with New Hampshire. We used to go up to New Hampshire all the time because they don't charge sales tax. So every time we had to do back to school shopping, my parents would lug me up to New Hampshire to buy all of my clothes because no sales tax, great for them. This is a really cool bill because this means that the jury can actually have a lot more power. If they don't agree with a law, whether it's a law or not, they can literally say, no, we're not going to find you guilty because we disagree with this law. You know, that's really putting a lot more power back into the people's hands, and it's very cool that they did that in New Hampshire.
And real quick, Dave, what's the medical marijuana law up in New Hampshire right now?
As of right now, there is not. I'm not clear if there is even a medical marijuana law right now. So this is really the jury. In fact, I'm pretty sure there isn't one. Although New Hampshire has been looking at it, as a lot of states within the country has been looking at it. But right now, it is still considered illegal to grow. And the only reason he was able to, get past this was because of his religious beliefs. And we do have religious freedom in the United States. And so, that's one of the great freedoms we do have. Sometimes it's subject to argument depending on how it's being implemented. But, just a very cool, another example of the people actually overriding the government when it comes to decisions. And I think this is really important. I really think that we're starting to see a movement in this country. Kansas is a great example. New Hampshire is another great example. And I recommend everybody out there, if you ever are on a jury, if you're not in Colorado and you're in an illegal state and you happen to be up for this, fight this. I mean, look, it's legal in other states. Why shouldn't it be legal in your state? And let's not find anybody guilty of conviction on marijuana charges for possession. I mean, look, if somebody's, hurting somebody in a drug trade by killing them or, violent, that's a different story. Of course, we can go into that argument over and over again about the fact that, the drug war does create violence within, the trade of marijuana and other drugs. But, look, I just want to give kudos out to New Hampshire. Big shout out to them. Thank you to the jury for stepping up and utilizing your rights as citizens.
And utilizing it in the system that was designed.
Exactly. So we're going to be taking a break in a couple minutes. While I got you here, Ryan, for a couple minutes. We're going to talk more in the next segment about what you guys are up to as a band. But, actually, you know what? I have the intro for the band here with me. I took it right off your website. So if you don't mind, I'm going to read that out and just give you, just to give you guys a little backstory. I discovered these guys at the Westward Music Showcase and absolutely love them. And I said, and I'm a huge fan of funk. And so I was like, we have to have these guys playing at our band. So this is the first time we're actually meeting face to face.
Cool, yes.
But Ryan is
voice to voice.
Yeah, and Ryan, how do I say your last name? Is it Chris?
Yes.
So Ryan Chris, he's in guitars and vocals for Demon Funkies, and then we have Paul Prom King Lanier. Why don't you tell us the names of everybody in the band? What they do?
I was going to suggest that.
Yeah,
Dave.
I know, right? That makes sense.
Well, the Prom King, yes, he just goes by Prom King. He's under contract for Demon Funkies right now, so that's what we just call it. But and Burning Sensation, he plays the keyboards. Mr. Mike Chisa is on the saxophone, however you want to look at it. With us, it's the saxophone.
Right on.
And Chris Murphy's the drums. He's the drummers. Actually, those guys are going to be absent, and we're going to be using some other guys. So it's going to be.
That's too bad.
Yes, but it's going to be fun because it's going to be a big old family get down, and there's going to be a bunch of us on there, and we're going to throw down because we're really excited about this event and to be a part of it. And I love Castleman's, and man, to be part of a, I want to be a judge. You can.
Judging is closed out. Man.
Judging is closed,
Yeah.
right.
Well, we can talk. I have some slots that might be opening up if judges don't pick up, and you have your red card right now. Yeah. Well, there's a possibility. So we might have one of our little, a little guest celebrity judge for us with Ryan on there.
Yeah. Maybe I can pull some weight, for, my side of the community on what the good stuff is,
Exactly.
'cause,
Exactly. Well, your new album is Back on the Monkey.
Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. When did that get released?
That got released, about 7 months ago.
7 months ago. How's everything going with that?
Good.
Good, yeah.
Good. We've got great reviews. Westward gave us a great review and
Right on.
got our music buzz, and we've been getting it out. We've been playing the mountain towns and stuff, and things are going great. So.
Right on. Well, listen, we have to go to a break real quick, Ryan. When we get back, we're actually going to talk about the legislation that's going to be hopefully passed in Illinois, House Bill 30, which is for their medical marijuana legislation. And we're going to get a lot deeper into the Demon Funkies and what they've been up to, and get some of your views on medical marijuana laws going on right now.
Let's do it.
All right. So we'll see you in just a few.
That's just how I roll. Come on, roll, roll, roll. Oh, make it funky now. Check it out now. Gonna get up and make it now. Gonna get up and make it now. Ooh, no, no, no. I'm not your average soul. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's just how I roll. Ooh, no, no, no. We're not your average souls, man. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's just how we roll. Come on, roll, 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 roll. When I stop and I pour a drink, I start to think, as I start to drink, 'cause I know how it could be if we were to be free. Sitting here, sipping gentleman's jack and playing on these strings, I get a feeling so free, and I hope that you all feel like me. I wish you could be here with me. I'd share with you my tree, the sweetest songs we'd sing, and live the endless dream. Sitting here, to the gentleman's shack and playing on these strings. I get a feeling so free, and I hope that you all feel.
All right, we're back, and you've just been listening to Demon Funkies from their album Back on the Monkey. Which song was that, Ryan?
These strings.
New String. I love it, man. I love it. I was just saying while we're listening to in the break, got a great little dead sound to it, but with the funk on top of it, man, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, we're so psyched for you guys to be playing it.
It's medicinal music, man.
It's medicinal music. I love it. Right on.
So where can people pick up your music?
Most major spots: iTunes, Amazon. You know, the local hangout, the online resource of your choice, CD Baby, those kinds of places. Our website, demonfunkies.com. So.
Right on. Yeah. So, please check out their website, demonfunkies.com. We're going to get more into talking with Demon Funkies, but we do like to try to get as much news going. And we did promise you guys that every single week we were going to go over legislation that was going to be... Happy 420, everybody, by the way.
420.
Ryan did just point that out. It's amazing how somebody always looks at their phone on 420, isn't it? It's just, I always seem to do that, you know. Well, it's not now because we're talking. But
Because it's a daily holiday,
and it's a
Dave.
daily holiday. It's always 420 somewhere, right? I said last week, and I talked about Massachusetts legislation. We want to talk this week about Illinois. It's funny how we're picking states that I've lived in at some point or another. I have lived in Chicago for about 5 years. I hold Chicago very near and dear to me, and I'm so excited that Chicago and, Illinois in general is looking to pass medical marijuana legislation. So we just want to kind of talk a little bit about what they're doing. We can, weigh some of the pros and cons of how their the architecture of their bill. We're not going to get into too much detail because, if you ever read legislation bills, they're very long-winded and, for a lot of legal purposes. But this bill that Illinois is looking to pass for the November election is called House Bill 30. I want to highlight some of the things I love about this bill. Jason did the work on the Mexican cartels, and I'm doing the work on the Illinois House Bill 30. So some of the things I really love is there's a lot of rights in here for the patients. I'm going to quote a quick section. Section 15 for House Bill 30 at Illinois. It talks about protections for the medical use of cannabis. And I highlighted a section I'm just going to read out to you. It says, a qualifying patient who has been issued and possesses a registry identification card, it's like a red card here in Colorado, it's your prescription, shall not be subject to arrest, prosecution, or penalty in any manner or denied any right or privilege, including but not limited to civil penalty or disciplinary action by a business or occupational or professional licensing board or bureau for the medical use of cannabis in accordance with this act. And that's provided that the qualifying patient possesses the amount of cannabis that does not exceed the quote-unquote adequate supply as defined in a section that was earlier. The adequate supply is 2 ounces of dried cannabis, which would be ready, obviously, for consumption and smoking.
In Illinois?
In Illinois.
Okay.
It is. And this has become one of the standards is the 2 ounces. There are some states that actually are a little higher, but 2 ounces is a good amount, that the states are recognizing is, look, if, that's enough. Most likely that's good for you. Now, there are, of course, always special circumstances, for certain patients that really require much, much more. Also, it doesn't account for concentrates. And that is one thing I've noticed in this bill is there is no mention of concentrates, whether they would be illegal or not illegal. So that's obviously a question that would happen after the bill is passed under the rules and regulations, because there are some states that don't allow concentrates, and I'm highly against that because there are medical conditions that require much higher doses of cannabis for people to be able to manage their pain, or people who with multiple seizures need a higher dosage.
And where does edibles fall into that? Because
It doesn't mention edibles, actually, Ryan. So that's another one. They don't mention it as just flower. So I think they left that door open, and I think it makes sense to leave that door open. And
I think every state kind of looks at the The edibles a little bit differently. Like where there's a company out there, Nexus Meds, that is looking to expand into Arizona. However, there's a couple edible companies out there. One of them wasn't aware of the legalities behind edibles, and then the other one said that the edibles itself were illegal to make because you need to make them out of oil or hash or any you can't make them directly out of the bud, or else you'd be having an old fashioned brownie, which I guess are probably maybe still pretty good.
Well, no, they're still good, but it's hard to manage the dosage in that brownie by doing that. It's much easier, as you know, because you deal with edibles on a regular basis, to like manage your dosage by knowing exactly how much oil you're putting in and break it down. But when you're doing flour, much harder to make that into butter when knowing exactly how much medication is in there.
Which is another reason to test.
It's a very important reason to test, actually. Absolutely.
They've increased the number of plants you can grow, right, because of the fact that a lot of people only use edibles.
That's a good point, actually, Ryan.
It really depends on the prescription that you're getting from your doctor that you're going out there. I mean, they can in the state of Colorado, as a patient, you can grow 6 plants to yourself, whether it be you doing it or the center that you're signing your caregivership to. However, you can request additional plants based on your medical needs, and if you're going to be cooking at home, and those sorts of things, because when you're doing the extraction process, you get a lot less out of it than when you're just going out there and smoking it. And then, so it takes a lot more in order to make the product itself. So they do offer higher plant counts.
Well, and that's why they have plant counts for dispensaries for growing their flower. And so when a patient signs them over for a caregiver here in Colorado, they're allowed to grow however many plants that patient gets for their prescription, whether it be 6 or 20. Some of them are actually giving 20, which is a lot. But when it comes to what we call our MIPS, which are medically infused product companies, those are the ones that make concentrates, those are the ones that make edibles. The plant count, kind of goes out the window on those guys for the most part, because they have to grow larger quantities, like Jason just said, to create the oil to put into the edibles and the brownies. So it's a little different situation.
The plant count for the edible companies right now out here is 500 plants that you can have going at a time. But even with that, it's still not enough.
It's not enough, you're right.
Because you got edible companies that are big, and we're kind of segueing away from what we were talking about. So
that's all right. Segues are fine.
Yeah, but going back to what Dave was saying, because the whole edible side of it, we also Nexus Meds falls under the Suit Media Group, which owns Nexus Meds and the Hemp Connoisseur. So we can definitely go for hours on the whole edible side of things, which is not what this show's about right now. But going back into what's going on in Illinois, and all great questions, Ryan, for sure, and we can definitely talk afterwards.
Well, we're happy to answer any questions you have. Absolutely.
Sure.
Let me finish a little bit about what's going on in Illinois, and then we can move on to whatever topic we want to talk about. That's the fun thing about having our own radio show. So some other things I want to mention on this is there's some things that I don't like about this Illinois bill. One of the things I really love is the protection for the patients. That's really important. And they recommend, what that section I read is reiterated 3 or 4 times in this bill. So I love that they did that. They're really bringing it home that patients are going to be protected. One of the things, some of the things that are a little odd is you're not allowed to drive a vehicle 12 hours, up to 12 hours after you've medicated. That is based on absolutely no science whatsoever. And I definitely think they're going to need to address that. Because, look, if you're somebody who's a medical patient and you can't drive for 12 hours, what does that mean? You're only allowed to medicate at night? What if you need pain control throughout the entire day? I understand the whole 4-hour rule we have here in Colorado, and that makes more sense. But look, if I'm somebody who I'm allowed to medicate at work, it helps me manage whatever issue I have, whether I have MS or rheumatoid arthritis or, I'm being treated for cancer.
Wait. Let me get this right. So there's people out there that medicate without getting high?
Yes, there are people that medicate without getting high. Well, of course, if you have CBD strain, so there's nothing obviously they don't have the science in Illinois yet, and they haven't consulted with people here in Colorado to understand some of these nuances that we've learned over the years now. But 12 hours, that basically tells me that if I have a license to smoke medical marijuana because I have an ailment that needs it, I'm never allowed to use a car again. All right. Now in a place like Chicago, I live there, like I said, I know that's actually not a big issue. You have great mass transit there. It's one of the things I kind of complain about here in Denver. I know we have the light rail.
They're working on it, man.
They're working on it. It's so slow, though. It's so slow. You get in a train in Chicago or New York, and it flies. Here, it takes forever to travel. But So it's not as big of an issue in a big urban area, but what about in the rural areas of Illinois? And really, most of the areas of Illinois are rural areas where people do have to drive. So I find a big issue with the 12-hour thing, and it sounds like an arbitrary number they kind of pulled out of their butt when they pulled this up. So that's got to be something that they're going to have to address.
Well, just like Colorado when it was coming out with his laws, it's easier to overregulate and then kind of pull back the reins a little bit than it is to do it. And I think that's exactly where these other states that are getting ready to legalize or decriminalize are at right now.
You're right.
Yeah, they are using, a lot of what Colorado has, in its laws right now. But again, it's not perfect.
No, everybody's going to have a learning curve. Everybody's going to have growing pains, and that's fine. I mean, to be honest, I think it's important to get this legislation passed, and then they just have to figure it out, and that's good. The other thing that they have, and they don't say whether it's going to be a nonprofit model or a free market model, but they do have, and I'll have to pull up the section that says exactly the terminology they're using it for, medical cannabis organizations. That's what we know as medical marijuana centers, dispensaries. Now, what's interesting about this is, so they have a caregiver model. Almost every state has a caregiver model. And, I've kind of spoke about the caregiver model in Massachusetts and how I'm not a huge fan of the caregiver model because it doesn't help our industry. Because what happens is diversion can happen very easily in the caregiver model. Diversion being something grown legally but sold illegally. Because when you're a caregiver and you're growing multiple plants, you might not be able to serve just the patients you're a caregiver for. Well, what are you going to do with those extra plants? Oh, you're probably going to sell them to your neighbor or their friends or whatever. And that is illegal. I'm not condoning it at all, but that happens a lot. That said, there are plenty of caregivers out there that follow the letter of the law. In Illinois, what they have set up is, so say I'm a patient. I can choose to have a caregiver, and I can choose to have two caregivers. One which is a personal caregiver, so I can go, hey, Jason, can you be my personal caregiver? And you can grow 6 plants for me.
Perfect.
You're not allowed to grow any more than those 6 plants. You can only be a caregiver for me.
Can I grow my own? And my caregivers?
It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that in there here. So they haven't put that in. That's a regulation they might do. But if Ryan came to you and said, Jason, can you be my caregiver? You would actually have to say, from what my understanding of this, and I could be wrong, but my understanding of this, and I read it a couple times, it's basically saying, no, I can't. I'm only allowed to be a caregiver for one patient.
Okay, but could you be Ryan's caregiver?
Well, that's weird. Now you're talking about this weird domino effect. Well, if you're my caregiver, why would I be Ryan's caregiver? And that creates confusion for the regulatory commission. It doesn't state that, so that's an odd thing. But also it does say that if you're my caregiver, I would have to purchase my marijuana from you, basically because you have costs that are incurred. But
I could grow my own 6 plants.
You could grow your own 6 plants. The other thing is, they talk about the medical cannabis organizations. Well, as a medical cannabis organization, and this is very different from Colorado, I mean, you might find some similarities. I can sign over my caregivership to you as a medical cannabis organization. I can also sign it over to Ryan as a personal caregiver. Okay. So he can grow 6 plants for me. You can grow 6 plants for me. But I'm only allowed to purchase my cannabis from the two of you. I can't go to any other medical cannabis organizations. This is something I have issue with because, and I just foresee a lot of issues for the enforcement divisions in Illinois, because say I go to you, but I find out from a friend of mine, well, these guys down the street grow much better product. Well, I'm going to change my caregivership over to them. Well, now you've lost those plants. There's going to be a lot of switching back and forth between this caregiver and another caregiver, because I'm going to keep finding other people to go to. You're eliminating choice, and there's nothing else I can find. I mean, there's no other industry in this country where you don't have a choice. You have to go to one company to purchase that product. I mean, when it comes to liquor, could you imagine if there's only one liquor store you could purchase your liquor from, and that was it? And they could only sell to you. So in other words, if I have a friend, I'm like, hey, check out this other dispensary. They grow really great products. It's very strong. It helps my ailment, just you have the same ailment as me. You should check them out. You can't just test them out, it sounds like.
Does it say in those laws how often you can change caregivership?
It doesn't say how often you can change caregivership either. Those would be something that would be probably a rule that would be passed later on. And there's going to have to be a transitionary period. If you're my caregiver and I'm growing plants for you, and then you sign over to somebody else, I got to be able to finish growing that crop. Otherwise, now you're talking about a regulatory nightmare.
Do they have a medical marijuana enforcement division?
There is talk about the creation of what we call in Colorado Medical Marijuana Enforcement Division. I don't know if that's going to be the name of the regulatory system, and it wasn't a section I copied out because that was something that that just makes sense that they were going to do something like that. But they did state, I remember in that section, it's going to have so many lawyers, so many law enforcement officers, so many people in the health field who are going to be built up to make that team of people in their enforcement division. So it made sense that they were putting together a team like that.
Yeah.
But that said, look, I mean, there's going to be pluses and minuses to every legislation for medical marijuana that are being put into every state. There's some specifics that aren't mentioned in here, so they're obviously leaving it open for the legislators to come up with a specific plan if it's passed. And I think it's a good idea to leave it open to that, and then maybe they can come and talk to Colorado, talk to California, find out what's working in different places. But the big thing for me is this idea that I'm locked in to a caregiver or a quote unquote dispensary, and that's the only place I can purchase from. I think they're going to find a lot of issues with that.
But we both know how the caregivership model just seems to be going away.
Well, this caregiver model is basically set up so to fail. Because there's going to be caregivers out there that are going to grow 6 plants, but that's all they can grow. They can't serve more than one patient. So it's going to be something like, there's stipulations in here like a family member. Say I have a child who has autism and I get him a prescription for medical marijuana. As a parent, I can grow as their caregiver. And that's kind of more of what the caregivership is set up to be almost even more personal than the caregiver model set up in Colorado, because you're only helping one person. And it does limit the amount of grows and everything that are going to be going on the personal home front. And I'm not against that side of the caregiver model. I still think there's a need for caregivers. I think that limiting how many patients you handle does limit the amount of product you're growing.
So if you're in Illinois, you should probably start a hydroponic store.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that. There probably is. You're right. But that said, it's limiting these businesses and their practices to how much money they can earn. And, we live in a free market society, but when it comes to medical marijuana, as we're discovering in a lot of states, they're not looking at it like that, which it's very interesting to see that, everything is free market until we look at cannabis. So all of a sudden they don't want these guys to make too much money. And that's kind of one of the ways I look at it. Maybe it's because I'm a conspiracy theorist, but
hey, well, if there's anybody out there making money in the marijuana industry, call in. 'Cause we'd love to talk.
We'd love to talk to you because everybody thinks these guys are making money hand over fist, and they're just not.
Yep,
they're not.
They're making less and less and less. In fact,
yeah, they are making less and less and less. So look, guys, how much before we got to go to a break? We're at a break right now. All right, so I promised Ryan we're going to talk only about the Demon Funkies after this break. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to just talk about our party, Cirque de Cannabis, and talk more about Demon Funkies, man. You guys are going to love this band. You got to come to the party because it's going to be a rocking good time.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we'll be back in a few.
When I stop and I pour a drink, I start to think as I start to drink, 'cause I know how it could be if we were to live free. Sitting here, sipping gentleman's jack and playing on these strings, I get a feeling so free, and I hope that you all feel like me. With me, I'd share with you my tree, the sweetest songs we'd sing, and live the endless dream. Sitting here, sipping gentleman's jack and playing on these strings. I get a feeling so free, and I hope that you all feel like me, and I hope that we all can be free. If I could ask just one more thing, I'd say join me now and we will sing. 'Cause I know how it could be if we were to be free. Sitting here, sipping gentleman's jack and playing on these strings. I get a feeling so free, and I hope that you all feel like me, and I hope that we all can be free. Yeah, I hope that we all can be free.
All right. Once again, you guys have been listening to the Demon Funkies. I absolutely love this band, and we're lucky enough to have Ryan Criss here, the lead vocalist and lead guitar as well. Correct, Ryan?
Correct.
Hey, I'm going to give you the official intro. I promised Ryan I was going to give. All right. This is on their website.
Nothing's official with Demon Funkies except for
right.
you know.
Nothing's really official with us either. We kind of do fly by the seat of our pants here.
Soup.
Yep. So based in Denver, Demon Funkies has been playing together since their formation in 2003. In 2005, they released their debut album, 5282 of Funk, which was greatly received by the public, leading them to successful shows throughout the region from Colorado to Wyoming and Montana. In 2008, they released Punk Junkies, a collection of their more rock-oriented material that garnered glowing reviews from Westward Magazine, Colorado Music Buzz, and 4 out of 5 stars from the Vale Daily. In 2009, amid a steady stream of Colorado dates, Demon Funkies were awarded winner at 2009 Westward Music Showcase Awards for the Best Funk Band category. And then in July of 2011, via a contest by Channel 93.3 KTCL FM, the band won a slot to perform at the first annual Denver County Fair. Oh, yeah.
That was quite a ride, I'll tell you.
Was it? How was that at the fair, man?
Crazy, man. Like
Yeah.
chickens and Devo was the headliner. So we
Devo
played
was the
on
headliner.
Devo stage. And,
Nice.
it was just in this weird concrete mass. And
Wow. How did they? I'm assuming they played Whip It.
oh, yeah.
What other songs did Devo play? But for any of you listeners who are a little younger, Devo was this crazy band in the early 80s, man.
And they're like, I see them on all the festivals even now. They're coming back into people like Devo because they're weird. They're cool,
Do they still wear those hats?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, that's funny as hell, man. I did this one song, Whip It Good. That was Devo, man. And I don't know anything else they've done, really. But, it's amazing how you can survive for 20, 30 years on a one-hit wonder. It's pretty wild.
Well, I think maybe they'll be opening up for Demon Funkies here before.
There you go. There you
now
go.
you're talking, man.
That's right. So right, I mean, obviously we want to talk more. What have you guys been up to this summer? I know you were at the Western Music Showcases, where I discovered you guys personally. But what else have you guys been doing this summer?
We've had a great run. We did a little tour up to Montana and Wyoming, played festival up there, and I'm from Montana, so we
Right
try to roll up there, play for our people every year, and And so yeah, it was a blast. And but we've just been, we've been slugging it out here with a lot of our Colorado buddies and some of our favorite bands. And we do some stuff in Denver, but we've been focusing a lot in the mountains too, just because it's just great to be up there, man.
yeah.
It's like
Mm-hmm.
in the summertime, man. You take whatever shot you can to get up there and just enjoy your life, and play music in the trees and the mountain people up there are always so welcoming and wonderful, and so that's great. But when we got the opportunity to do the Hemp Connoisseur Championship, man, I'm like, yes, because even I've noticed that there are a lot of people out there that are patience and product and blah 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 and whatever. They're just going to get some weed and whatever. No, there's a lot of patients out there that care about their product,
Absolutely.
where they get it, and the people that are giving it to them, getting it, growing it, whatever to them. And they're looking. These are people that work hard for their money, and they want good deals, and they want good product, and they have serious ailments.
Yep.
And so to put together something where people can say, hey, my vote is that this is a great product, and let's get together and talk about it, and let's have some fun, and let's let's dance, and let's be like-minded instead of just all these scattered people throughout who think they've got it. Like, oh, those dudes are this or that. There's real product and real ailments that are behind this.
Do you have a favorite place to go?
Well, I did the House of Greens, which was owned by my buddy, but he sold it now. So now I don't really. Gosh.
How about this? What was the last strain you purchased, and where did you get it from?
Lemon Skunk, which was
Pretty good, huh?
That's good stuff.
and that was actually from a fellow patient who, and I'm trying to think where he got it, but I wanted to get some too.
That's all right.
But I can't remember where.
No worries,
where
no
his-
worries.
But
But good stuff. Yeah. I like the
fantastic.
lemon
And-
skunk. It's always a good one.
And we were talking about edibles too, but
Yeah.
I was also thinking about tincture, which is that's a concentrate. Does that qualify as a concentrate?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could call it. It's tincture's kind of. I mean, we call it an edible as more than a concentrate, because tincture can be diluted to a weaker standpoint than what concentrates are done. I mean, it's one of those gray areas,
I guess technically it is an edible because you have to. I mean, you need to purchase it from a manufactured infused products company, whether it be the center itself has the MIP or if it's just an edibles company. So, I will throw a plug out there for one that has a unique product out there. But Canyon Cultivation, she has a Drop It, and just an absolutely phenomenal product. And it comes in 3 flavors. There's mint, vanilla, and tangerine dream.
The Tangerine Dream is actually one of the entrants for the contest, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it is.
There you go. I'm interested in that.
Yeah, what's nice about the drop its that Canyon Cultivation does, and I mean we could say it's a plug, but we're just going to speak highly of anything that we think is going right. Is the dosage of the way she does it? The drop its, each drop is about 5 milligrams, so it's very easy, especially for a brand new person at edibles, to slowly work up to the dosage that makes the most sense for them.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that edibles can be tricky sometimes. So if you don't know exactly what your dosage is for an edible, it's a great way to really figure that out. So, I mean, because, 2 drops is 10, 3 is 15, 4 is 20, and you get to the point where you find out what it is, and then from there, I mean, we hope you keep repurchasing, but it does open the door for you to go get, other edibles and be like, okay, well, I know what my tolerance is now. So, I mean, we could definitely direct you over to places that carry that. Actually, nexusmeds.com, product locator. All right, and you can find all the products there. So
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the variety and flavor for, I like switching it up a little, like we all do, and there's always gobs of that in the actual bud, but in tincture, I don't see a lot of variety. I haven't seen a lot of variety.
do you find yourself moving more away from bud and going towards edibles, or kind of what do you find in your trend to be?
More use of edibles, yes, but not going away from either. Just depending on what the situation is, or
Right.
or how bad my ailment is at the time,
Yeah.
or and what I've got planned,
Sure.
like that.
I have that same experience. I mean, the great thing about the flower side of it is if you're smoking it or vaporizing it, is you get much more of an immediate effect. But with the edible side, it's a little bit more delayed, but it's more extended. So it just kind of depends for me personally. Is like, what am I planning on doing? What just basically planning it out. How do I want to be medicated right now? Do I need to be medicated immediately? Or do I not really need to be medicated for another hour? And then how long do I want to be medicated for? So, these are the choices I make personally.
And one of the the major things that I base my use is being a vocalist. I don't want to put any heated
Sure.
vapor or smoke or anything down my throat before a gig or anything like that. So I definitely, before a big show or something, I'll only use edible.
Right. That makes
before
sense.
That, and it's not, for some reason reasons people don't like smoking or whatever. For me, it's just for vocal use.
Of course,
you don't want to burn your vocal cords. Or
Yeah,
anything like
yeah.
that.
You don't want to smoke something that's all harsh in your throat, and then you go out and sing. And
Right.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed though? You've taken an edible before a show, and it was a little bit stronger than you would have expected.
Oh boy.
Now,
Oh,
do you feel more comfortable performing a show medicated or non-medicated?
I'm a non-medicated guy,
Uh-huh.
but I like to be medicated soon after.
Oh,
Right.
But our band members are different, and we've had some people that have, we're trying out, our new edible or whatever. Here, try this, and resulted in our bass player playing on the floor, lying on the floor, semi-unconscious, but keeping the bass going. So
Right. That made it a little bit more interesting. That's
get
funny.
some good pictures out of that one. I
Yeah,
bet.
yeah. No, I bet. And that's one thing I will say. One of the things I was really impressed with you guys when I saw you at the Westwood Showcase. First of all, it was hot as hell. For anybody who was not there that day, it was like literally one of the hottest days of the summer.
Yeah.
And, I was traveling back and forth from venue to venue to check out bands, and I was so impressed with... Because, I was watching some bands, and you could tell the heat was affecting those guys. And I was like, wow, they're not able to give it their all because they're exhausted. And you were all over the stage. You were coming out into the out into the audience, basically. And
I was sweating tincture.
you were sweating tincture, weren't you? But I just love the fact that when I saw that, I was like, oh, hell yeah, I want these guys. First of all, the music's awesome. Second of all, the fact that I knew that, like, if you're performing this hard in this kind of heat, I know that you're going to be just fine in October, and you guys are going to be giving it your all. And that was the thing that we really wanted to make sure was that anybody who came to our party was going to get their money's worth. I mean, $10 money's worth, but more than that. We wanted to really exceed people's expectations. And you were literally the first band I said, yes, that's what I want right there.
Sweet.
And during that whole decision-making process, they visited a lot of bands.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, it was to the point where they're like, well, let me just go to a place where a whole bunch of them are going to be there and kind of go that route because they went everywhere. So it's, we're definitely happy to have you part of the Soup family for this event, for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm psyched, and I love Castleman's, and we've got some friends there, and it's just a beautiful, amazing venue, and
It is.
the new sound and stage that they have in there is fantastic.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and it's perfect for aerialists, and I know some of the other bands that are going to be on there. They're phenomenal. Varlet and
Cobra Conda, yeah.
and Dragon Deer's also
And
on
Dragon
there.
Deer, yep.
Yep, they're all fantastic, and I want to shout out to my friend Samantha Hansen, who did a lot of work for Castleman's. I'm not sure she's still doing that or not. I think she is, but
Well, she's working the PR for our event.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, and she's doing a good job on that. And I do want to just make a quick plug for Varlet and Cobra Conda. There was a reason why we selected the three of you guys. You're all very different, but I feel like you're all going to very much appeal to a wide variety of people because, the demographic for the Hemp Connoisseur readership ranges from 20 to 60. You know, I mean, yeah, I don't expect a lot of the 60-year-old readers to come to our party, you know, but we did want to appeal to everybody, and we wanted to make sure there was something for everybody up there. And, you know, in Varlet, they're a great, you know, kind of fun alternative rock feel band, and, you know, Cobra Kana is a really fun hip-hop band, and then you guys are the funk. And, you know, I'll be honest, I was kind of selfish. I picked what I really liked. But I also picked, you know, there were other bands I really liked, but didn't seem right for what we were doing. And you guys all just kind of fit the bill that I wanted to create for all of our readers who were going to come for it, all our judges. And, man, I'm just so stoked that you guys are there. I mean, funk is one of my favorite genres of music. And I love, you know, when hearing what's on your new album on Back on the Monkey, and hearing that Grateful Dead sound, man, I love it even more. It's like it makes me even happier that you guys are there to hear that variety and that fusion coming in. And yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about how that changed? Because I mean, you're a funk band still, obviously, but it sounds like some of the newer stuff is definitely kind of an amalgam of some other genres kind of mixing into that. And so, how did you guys come about with that process?
Yeah, well, as you read on our bio there, we've been around since 2003, so we're going on 10 years, and just time alone, affects your influences and your style at that moment or whatever. So we've just in the course of time have like, grown. It had grown through funk and rock, and just weaved our way in between and out, and had a blast doing it. Our first album was pretty much straight funk, and our second was rock, and this one's a hybrid, like you noticed. And now the new stuff that we've been working on that we don't have recordings of is like P-Funk, man. It's good stuff.
Are you gonna play some of that at the party?
Definitely.
Right
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Where it's like, there's it's heavy doses of funk, but man, there's also just some nasty guitar in there, man.
Very cool. There was a funk band in Chicago. The reason why I bring them up is because I just love the name. It was like the perfect name for a funk band. It was Deep Cotton, and it was just like just something about that Deep Cotton just made you just feel like it's funky.
Yeah.
And that's my thought on like the P-Funk kind of style. That deep funk just has that, really round, like heavy feel to it. That's just, it's just, if you can't feel the beat in a funk kind of style like that, then you're not even alive. That's the way I feel. It's like, if you can't get into that groove, then, you're not human.
See, I'm going to be excited because I don't know a lot about funk, so this is going to be a good adventure for me.
No, funk is the ultimate
I'm
party
open to
music.
everything,
It's
so.
the ultimate party music.
You might not know a lot about it, but your ass does.
Exactly. Your ass will be communicating.
It'll be
to you.
moving, huh?
Yeah,
Good,
exactly. So, do you have any gigs coming up before our event? Anything that you can let people know about?
We have some things, but really, I'm only mentioning October 5th at Castleman's because that's the one I'm most excited about.
Right on.
And, we're actually putting together a special show for this show.
Oh, nice.
So,
right on.
You can catch us. You can check on our website, and we're, around town, and we're here and there. But October 5th is going to be a special show for us and for y'all. So.
Excellent. We're
excited
about
for
it.
it, for sure.
Well, look, for everybody out there, if you want to get tickets to our event on October 5th, you can pre-order them at Castlemans.com, CASSELMANS.com. If you pre-order, the tickets are $10, so we recommend you doing that. If not, you're going to be paying $15 at the door, so go ahead and get signed up early and do that. And look, I have a lot of people in the industry out there like, well, I'm in the industry, can I get free tickets? No, you can't. Here's the reason why. We didn't take sponsorship for this event because by taking sponsorship from dispensaries or edible companies who are submitting, if they happen to win, it wouldn't look fair. And so to keep our neutrality when it comes to running a cannabis competition, we chose not to take sponsorship from any companies within the industry that make medication themselves. So ticket sales are what's driving this event, and by coming and purchasing your ticket for $10, you're basically making your statement too, saying, look, if you're going to run a cannabis competition, you shouldn't be taking sponsorship. So come out and support the fact that we are trying to create a clean competition for Colorado. we're not asking much. $10 to come see these guys is an awesome price.
It's a great deal. Plus,
It
you've
is.
got aerialists and fire spinners.
Oh yeah,
man.
I mean it's going to be so much
good time.
eye candy going on there. It's going to be kind of ridiculous for you to come in there. Everyone's going to want a videotape. And iCannabis Radio is thinking about being there. Overgrow the Radio. Stickman will be covering the event, hopefully from the balcony of Castleman's. So you guys can make a shout out to iCannabis while you're there. Definitely check out Overgrow the Radio every Thursday at 7:00. I got to do a little plug for Chris.
Rumor has it
for,
there's going to be some
Stickman.
pretty unique hemp beverages going on there.
There is. We have one of our sponsors is Purgatory Vodka. Purgatory Vodka is made by Alaska Distilleries, and it is the first American-made hemp-distilled vodka. It's pretty good, man. I got to tell you, I like it. It's got a little bit of an herbal flavor to it, so it almost
Can't wait to
tastes.
try it.
Yeah, it almost tastes. If you drink it straight and warm, which most people don't do that, but I do it just to test it out because I've been a bartender for years, and that's how you get your palate. You taste a little bit of that herbal flavor, so it almost feels like somebody put a little dash of gin into it. But mixed with any beverage, it's awesome. We actually are about to hear about a possible sponsor coming back to us. I can't really say the name of the company, but let's just say Red Bull with hemp in it as a flavor palette.
And as soon as we get that lockdown, team, we will definitely spread the word.
Yes, we
because
will.
So
it's-
that's something I would like to partake in
Yeah.
before the show.
Yeah, exactly.
We
Gives you
got-
a little bit of energy. So we're waiting to hear back from these guys. They're very excited. They're stoked to be a part of this event. They're looking to launch this product in the United States, and we might be one of the first places in the country that you get to try this out at. And so if we do have it, we're going to have the H&H cocktail. It's the hemp vodka and the hemp energy drink.
Yeah.
And they did send us a case from Austria, and it was amazing. So
Yes, they did. We tried it all.
It's going to be some good times.
It's good
so.
stuff. Yeah, we were zinging. Everybody the work productivity that day definitely went up. Well, God, an hour does go by fast, doesn't it, guys? We're already at 5 o'clock, so I do have to close this out. The nice thing about the internet is we're not locked into by the minute. But look, I want to thank Ryan Chris for showing up from the Demon Funkies.
Thank you, guys.
You got to come to our event to hear these guys. I can't stress how awesome they are live. They're so much fun. You're going to have a blast. Again, our Cirque de Cannabis event is Friday, October 5th. I got 135 judges right now judging some of the best cannabis the Colorado scene the past harvest, and you get to find out which dispensaries, which edible companies, which concentrate companies make the best product, so you're better informed as to where to go. And then the next year, you guys can all be judges too if you haven't been this time. So Friday, October 5th, go to castlemans.com to get your tickets, $10 at pre-order, $15 at the door. Like I said, we got aerialists, fire dancers. We have Demon Funkies, Varlet, Cobra Conda, and Dragon Deer all performing for you guys. I mean, look, we know how to throw a party. Let me just say that. At Hemp Connoisseur, we do not mess around. We threw a Boogie Nights party on April 19th as a kickoff to 420. People in the industry are still talking about this party. And, man, that was small compared to what we're doing this time around. So,
I know how to throw a party.
yeah.
And we're at your party, so I know damn well you know how to throw a party.
Exactly, man. We're just going to have a good time, man. This is a time for everybody in the industry to let loose, have fun. Yes, there's an awards competition, of course, but really, it's first and foremost a party that happens to be awards in there.
And it is a party for the patients.
It is. Well, it's for patients. It's for bud tenders. It's for everybody. It really is. And we're here to have a good time, man. We want you guys to come out and check it out. I apologize that we did not talk about hemp today. I did say last week that we're always going to talk about hemp. Sometimes, my mouth runs off, as Jason will call me on all the time. I have a hard time shutting up.
I sure wish they'd put a mute button on his microphone there. It'd be great. We're working on that.
Yeah. But yeah, come out Friday, October 5th, Cirque de Cannabis event. And we'll see you next week. Next week, we're going to be interviewing some members of Varlet, and then the week after that, we'll be talking with Cobra Conda. So we're doing a little bit of promotion for all of our bands. Want to get you to know them, hear some of their music, know what you're going to be coming or missing out on if you ain't going to make it to our party. And that's it. Signing out for the Hemp Connoisseur Radio. I'm just going to say peace, love, and hempiness.
Peace, love, and happiness. See you next week.
Love,
All
happiness.
right. Take care, guys.
Bye.